Hello, hello. Um, Shoot. Let's see if there's. Okay, let me just start talking to myself, so that to make sure that's not offensively loud. Oh my god. All right, monitors down and hello, hello. Turn off direct monitoring. There we go. Okay, that sounds a million times better. All right, so all right, hello, and I think I'm going to start looking through. I'm going to start looking through some people's submissions, and let's run over to the homebrew section. All right, so. Oh, shoot. What was that? Oh, I was still on a call. Oh, right. Thank you, Taryn. So, let's get into the Hospitaller, or sometimes referred to as Knight Hospitaller, are warriors trained in the medical arts that guard their charges from attack and illness. Okay, so this is a doctor fighter. Hold on. All right, so Hospitallers not only train in the application of medicine, but in its creation as well. When you take the subclass at 3rd level, you gain proficiency with the medicine skill. Okay, so first off, very simple thematics. I'm a very big fan of features that give you expertise in something if you're already proficient. That way, it doesn't punish you for picking out the skill that's thematically appropriate at level 1. And then you also gain proficiency with alchemy supplies, and then has the contingency if you already have them. Okay, that's cool. Hold on one second. All right, hold on. Let me just. Yep, I hope that everybody else can hear you. Let me just. Hold on. I can hear you fine. Oh wait, hold on. Let me mute you for a second on here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just I just muted you on this so I could listen to the stream to see if you were coming through, and I did not hear you on there. So sorry. Yeah. God, it's yeah, it's been a million years since I've last streamed, maybe like 2 years or something. And OBS. Yeah, just base OBS. Sure. So audio input capture. Okay, I think. Yeah. Wait. All right. I think. Oh. Oh, I really hope everybody's ears aren't being crushed right now. Oh, that's twice as loud. Yeah. Let's see. Properties, microphone, audio input capture. All right, let me use default. Wait, is crap. Oh, audio output? Right. Okay, that makes sense. Perfect. I think let's go with USB.
Oh, this got me.
I'm pretty sure we're good. Can you just say like anything?
Sure. Oh, yep. I can hear myself already.
All right. Let me just turn
all right,
you down
cool.
a little bit because you're clipping a tiny bit. All right. I think that's slightly.
Oh, yeah. I can turn myself down a little bit too because I am clipping on my side.
Yeah. There we go.
Hey. What up, not a dog?
Oh, we can hear him. Okay.
Yeah. I'm coming through. So what's going on?
Woo! Man, I'm going through a CDL course, commercial driver's training, and I've just
Oh yeah.
And it's from 8 to 4:30 every day, and it's been like it's been an ordeal. It's
Yeah.
The first week was nerve-wracking because I took the test and I passed it, but just just barely on one portion. And if you fail it, then you have to like just try again tomorrow. And it was like, you had to get like an 80% or higher on all three to pass, on all three sections. So I got, I did perfectly on like, on the first and third, and then the second one, I skipped answers to come back to them, and it's like on a computer, so it's like, it lets you know immediately what you got right and wrong, and I just had one more question to get right before I was just done with the goddamn test, and it said, and I clicked one, and it was wrong, and then I had four remaining questions left, and I clicked a second one, and that was wrong as well, and it was down to the very final question, and I was like shitting myself, because like, I skipped those answers for a reason. I was only like 25% certain on them.
Right.
But other than that, my day's been pretty good.
But you passed, right?
Yeah.
Hey, man, D's get degrees. That's a philosophy to live by.
Yeah, well, B's in this case.
Well, B's. All right, so B's get degrees and allow you to manage an 18-wheeler. So congrats.
Yep. Now I'm actually... I did the process of like going back and forth on just a strip of concrete over and over again today.
Fun.
It's... You know, I'm at the point where it's like I will take... If it gives me health insurance, sure, why the fuck not, you know?
Oh yeah, totally.
Because I have, it's either that or like military TRICARE, and like that's fine and all, but it's also a bit pricey.
Oh yeah. No, I got real lucky, and because I've had disability and everything, I'm able to get Medicare, Medicaid. So I'm like,
oh, nice.
Oh god, yeah. So it allows me to do degenerate things like try and make a YouTube channel work and be a freelance musician. So
wow, that's one way to find a bright side.
But yeah. So talking about starting up doing YouTube stuff, So
speaking of health insurance, the fighter.
Yeah, right. Hey, we can try to fumble over that segue. So I really dig this. Number one, the name is interesting. Like, there's plenty of combat medic like homebrews out there. It never felt. Anytime I see that, I'm like, that never feels like a fantasy name. You know.
It has a definitely like modern sound to it because that's the words we use.
Yeah.
I do like the name medic though, especially for like Eberron as a setting, because like that is the setting where there was a war, and it very much mirrors how at least World War II was kind of sort of fought. Obviously not one for one, but still.
Well, Eberron's got that like Arcana punk, like slightly steampunk-ish feel to it. So like a lot more modern sorts of bleed over makes sense for that setting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is gonna be a fighter subclass?
It seems so. They make salves. And also it's wisdom dependent, so
yeah, I feel very WW1, or World War. Wow, I almost just said WWE. Very World War One in Eberron. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on.
Shopping with Google helps you.
Oh. All right. So, at level 3, you learn how to make a fast-acting but perishable bomb as part of taking a long rest. Okay. So it requires that you have the tools, fresh water, and suitable ingredients. That seems to be left up to interpretation, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
As an action, a creature may apply the salve to either themselves or another creature. When applied, the recipient gains 1d6 plus your wisdom modifier.
Oh, 1d4.
Oh, yeah, it is 1d4. Sorry. It has a number of applications equal to your proficiency bonus. Any unused applications of your healing salve expire when you take a long rest. So that has like its own weird implications if you specifically refuse to take a nap. The fact that these salves are tied to your long rest will they'll basically like they'll last longer if you refuse to sleep. So like I don't know, if you stay awake for 5 days, then that salve is extra potent for nebulous reasons.
Well, and I always find that there's a way to reel in these kinds of things like that Wizards of the Coast just never ran with. If you're gonna make a class option that allows you to like create like a item, right? And it's part of why I'm not a big fan of the chef feat. Like you can say and 25 gold pieces worth of suitable ingredients or something like that, and that automatically like reels back how much of this resource they can make by just the fact that they're going to be limited on their gold. So as long as they can keep making these things, as long as they have they go out and forage or do the downtime, whatever, it's going to reel back, this thing getting a little nutso.
Yeah.
My recommendation.
A really good reference. I think Wizards of the Coast actually nailed it with their this similar concept with the spellless ranger, and their potresses. Hold on.
This is on a ranger?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Poltress. I don't know what that means, but
Poultice.
Oh, poultice.
Yeah, poultice.
Okay, so it's a very similar concept. This is basically to make up for the fact that a spellless ranger does not have cure wounds.
Right.
And it's like meant to like fill the void that like they gave the spellless ranger maneuvers, and like obviously that alone isn't enough to replace spell casting, because a pushing attack is never going to be equal to a steel wind strike and whatnot.
Oh, absolutely.
So at 3rd level, you create a special poultice that has healing power. You can spend 1 hour gathering herbs and preparing herbal poultice. Yeah, poultices. A number equal to your wisdom modifier, and you can carry a number at one time equal to your wisdom modifier as well.
That's such a horrible fucking arbitration for narrative right there.
It makes no sense. Yes. Shoot,
it's like, man, I'm not smart enough to hang on to 4 of these things. Oh, what do I do? Like, oh, come on.
I thought they had a contingency for that. I thought, oh well, I'll just take the L on that one.
And then the poultices cannot be applied by anyone but you. Yeah, see, this is
okay. Yeah, never mind. This is. I thought this was.
Yeah, like I know some people want to knock Tasha's design stuff, but like it doesn't change the fact that like, man, even some early UA was kind of not all there either.
I mean, yeah. I'm pretty sure Rodney Thompson's also not at Wizards anymore. Also, his Twitter's gone. I've checked. Also, very, very funny thing is that most of this advice is no longer true. Like here.
Most of what advice?
So the Sun Earth Arcana was about basically like advice for creating your own content, and some of it it's been like thoroughly stepped over and like ignored now. Like for example, like bards, sorcerers have a limitation on the number of spells they can choose from, which is a major restriction on the class. Wait, where'd it go? Wait, I thought there was. Oh yeah, so they have a limitation on the number of spells they can choose from, which is a major restriction on the class. And then they just like paved over that weakness with the Tasha sorcerers.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like, I don't know when this UA came out. My guess is probably like what, 2017, 2016, 2017.
This is the first iteration of the Divine Soul, which went through three iterations. So
yeah, so this is most likely either
I think 2015.
2016. Yeah. I mean, and this artwork doesn't even look like Eva Weiderman stuff. So yeah, this is way back.
This was back when when the Divine Soul was a martial sorcerer,
right? And their
extra attack.
They were figuring stuff out about the game they just made.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Yeah, I find this one
cleric. Okay.
Fascinating for like as like a time capsule of like how things used to be, and also there's still some good advice here.
Sure.
Like wild shape being used for exploration purposes.
Yeah. I mean, straight up, it's the best scouting tool in the entire game. Like, as soon as you hit, what is it, 9th level with Druid?
Yeah, something
Like,
like that.
man, yeah, it's just like maybe aside from like scrying, maybe, but like wild shape's is gonna have so much more versatile use.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, see, I talk about scaffolding a lot on like whenever I'm doing design work, and like that seems like what they're trying to get into right here. Which, if I'll be honest, like I think if Wizards of the Coast, because Benjamin brought this up one time in an interview on Claustrix's channel.
Oh, I love that channel.
Yeah, Claustrix did an interview with Ben, and they were Benjamin Huffman,
Mm-hmm.
and they were asking about like, what do you think they should do now? When do you think we're going to see a 6e? And Benjamin was like, what I hope they do is like at the very end of like 5th edition's lifespan, they release a book that's called, and I think he called it like Gygax's Guide to Infinity. And I was like, oh, that's kind of adorable for what this would be. But it's showing you, it's basically a home brewing guide to where if you want to make any option for this game, here's what we do. And I was like, man, that
Oh, that is
that seems like
smart.
a
Just
that
can't.
seems like a really cool little send off to like the strongest edition of D&D likely of all time.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That would actually be really interesting.
Oh,
Although,
it'd be a sick. Yeah, I love that. I love that idea.
yeah.
But
Anyways,
yeah,
should probably move on to the rest of the class then. So, healing
do you think?
salve is.
Yeah. Sorry. You do you.
Oh, okay. So healing salve is an interesting concept. However, this is basically you're kind of turning yourself into like an item repository, if that makes any sense, where it's just you gain extra stuff instead of just
Hmm.
stuff you can do. And that's what I feel is the main core of like a fighter class. It's not like the stuff they own, it's the stuff they know how to do, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
So I think the better way to narratively justify this would to be make this a little more similar to the healer feat. Obviously not copy it wholesale because that would just make it redundant. But I would say instead of making a healing salve, I think the more interesting option would be to call it like emergency medicine, and that like when you when you when you when you have an injured ally, you can like take your action to apply your medical knowledge, vague flavor text, using your what's it called?
Healer's kit.
Yeah, healer's kit. Thank you. You use your healer's kit, and then basically do the exact same thing that the healing salve does, but instead of it being an item you carry, it's you using your skills. I'm just struggling to think about how that would be different from the healer's kit, or from the healer feat.
Right. And it's not. I don't think it would be a bad thing to pull a little bit from the healer's kit personally, or the healer feat. What I think you could do here is like, I mean, if it's just kind of my thought, then like the suitable ingredients, if you tie that into a value, you're gonna have a restriction into how many of those you can create because that's just the rules of crafting for 5e.
Right.
And
What if this keyed
the time.
off of? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Hmm?
What if this keyed off of second wind though?
Well, I was thinking about that. Where like it could it be a D10? I don't know that I would want this to be strictly better than healing word or sorry, cure wounds.
Yeah. The problem is that we already have a measuring stick of a healing fighter with which to compare against, and that one keys off of second wind already.
Actually,
The
you know
purple
what you
dragon
can
knight.
do. You know what I think you could do on this one is So, this is just my opinion. What you could do is scale it. So, what are hit dice in D&D, right? I feel like hit dice are a measure of it's like a resource that mechanically mimics natural healing,
Yeah.
right? So, what if by you doing this action of you administering your check, you allow that creature to roll a hit die and regain this, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they get a bonus to it equal to your wisdom modifier.
I
That
think
way,
you can decouple it from wisdom modifier and just have it be equal to your fighter level, and then just they can't gain this benefit again until their next long rest.
I don't know that I would even mind it if you could use this short rest.
Or okay, how about half your fighter level, and you can't use this again until after they take another short rest.
I'd be fine with.
And then limit this to a number of times you can use it per long rest, I suppose. Tie it to proficiency bonus, maybe.
Honestly, with an action like this, like what I like to do is if I'm going to make a special action for a subclass, I want to make it to where this does not feel super restricted. I want to make it feel like if this is going to help define your playstyle, you should be able to do this as much as possible.
I suppose so.
You're already restricted by the means of these creatures have limited numbers of hit die. So even if you do this action multiple times, does it make short rest kind of blah? Well, not really, because see, Tristan got it. There's other implications that come with a short rest. And
Tristan does have a good point.
So the fact that they have to spend the hit dice is a good natural limitation right there. Short rest comes with other regenerative stuff, right? They can roll it and get con mod. There is a point where it's going to be a little bit better for you to do this 1d. I would just say make it a 1d8 plus fighter level.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, I wouldn't even go so far as to make it half your fighter level. Just make it 1d8 plus your fighter level.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be an action for you. Action is huge to fighter, because if you're not using your action to do extra attack, what are you doing? And if this is not able to compete with extra attack, then I don't know. And what it opens up is some design space to you, right? Where at later levels, maybe it's limited by a number of hit dice it can expend equal to half your proficiency bonus, right? As a part of this action. Because, you using an action to allow the creature to restore, let's say, 3d8 plus 18 or whatever hit points, that feels pretty freaking nice. Like, I would take that over. What is that? That's the equivalent of a second or third level. That's a third level cure wounds. A little bit better, actually, on average.
Right. I think that alone would make this. I'd consider taking this then. And then I think if we're going down like the train of thought of like Tasha's, where we kind of just give more stuff at level 3, I think you could do I think they could do something similar to like Song of Rest, where it's just while everybody's taking a short rest, I don't know, they get like an additional.
You can treat them.
Yeah, everybody gets like an additional D4 or D6 or half your fighter level proficiency bonus.
I did that. Yeah, I did that on the Apothecary Merchant. Triage, yeah. During a short or long rest, you can treat a number of creatures equal to your charisma mod. I'm working on the Merchant right now. A treated creature gains the following benefits. When it rolls a 1 or 2 on a hit die for healing during a rest, it can re-roll the die any number of times. Because you want to be able to roll at least like a 3 or above. When it finishes the rest, it gains temporary hit points equal to your Merchant level. So, like, you're just dishing out a big chunk of hit points right there. And you're kind of like optimizing their healing as opposed to it just gets a flat bonus, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. Okay, rest easy. You've learned how to assist and instruct individuals in self-care. Oh. Wow. I could have just read.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay, that's embarrassing. Not gonna lie. I feel silly for not just reading ahead instead of nitpicking beforehand.
So, but I mean, it's fair because right here we're looking at, okay, so when you take a short rest, okay, so the narrative is in the first line. Any creatures that spend hit dice to regain hit points gain an additional number of hit points equal to the number they rolled plus half your proficiency bonus round down. Yeah, this is all right. I mean, it does just, I guess it works with, it does work with Song of Rest, right? That's what I'm always careful about whenever I'm designing around short rests.
Yep. Yeah, I think overall it is.
Okay, yeah.
Overall, I think it's a very good idea, though. My main concern, though, is as you go up in levels, these this healing that you're doing as an action is getting comparatively worse, because that's taking your whole action. So like at level 1, that's not a huge deal. That's just one swing of your weapon. But
right.
At level 5, that's kind of a massive deal. And then it gets worse and worse as you go on. I'm wondering, I think maybe you could I think maybe the salves could be applied in place of one of the attacks.
Oh man, I am just not a fan of what that mechanic is doing for 5e.
I mean, like, I completely get why you don't like it, but it's also like, this is the hand we're dealt, and if we need to break up Marshall's actions, I would rather not completely disrupt their flow.
Not a dog said wait for the capstone, it ups the healing amount. I mean, I would rather, instead of like making the healing replace an attack, make the healing a better alternative to attacking. Because like, you're clearly taking this because you want to be a support character. That's always my pushback whenever people are like, well, why is this better than extra attack? Well, you can still fight, and whenever you're not fighting, then you've got this. Or whenever you're in the middle of a fight, instead of striking and doing the one thing fighter does, you got this other alternative, which is, I don't mind that, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so cure all salve. I'm of two minds about this. Might as well not skip ahead. But I really do think that the D4s to D8s, I think you could make that scale throughout the class overall. I think starting at a D6 and then working your way up to a D12. You're absolutely not going to be anywhere close to the cleric's level of healing. So I think it's fine to have just your salves be just big dice by the end. And yeah, I don't think it should be like, I don't think you should be as good at healing as a cleric or a druid, because they're a full caster, and they're spending. Oh, excuse me. They're spending, they're spending a 6th level spell slot to cast heal or whatever.
Right. So, I mean, if we're talking about a class that is non-magical in essence, right? Unless it gets magic at 3rd level, with Rune Knight, Psy Warrior, or Eldritch Knight. So, this is the reason why, like, okay, so here's what I'm thinking. The way that items do healing in D&D or the way that spells do healing in D&D is always through magic, right? Unless it's a very particular thing, like healer's kit with a feat, and then you have to do that action, that specific thing. And honestly, the real strength in healer is, and this is such a weird thing, necromancer should always pick that feat up because it's one of the only ways you can heal undead. Just funny quirk of the game.
Oh yeah.
But this to me feels like this hospitalier. I don't know that that's French. I don't know why I said it with a French accent. The reason why this to me would kind of work as a fighter is if it's more based in natural healing, right? And I think the mechanic that we have for natural healing in D&D is hit dice. So I think that there's more ways that you can play with it. And I mean, honestly, just being able to take an action to roll a hit dice to regain hit points is already really damn good. Like, really damn good. Because you're taking some of the power out of a short rest.
I don't know about really damn good, but, like, it's good.
Well, especially if they can use as many hit dice as they want.
Oh, okay. In that case, yeah.
If you're okay, so if this action, if you're allowed to use a number of, by doing so, the creature can restore a number of, the creature can spend a number of hit dice equal to half their proficiency bonus whenever you use this action. That's going to naturally scale up and open up a whole lot of later design space where, like, rest easy right here could just be whenever you treat the individual. Or wait, shit, wrong one. What was their capstone?
Oh, that was
kind of
cure all.
Yeah. So that one, instead of having the scaling kind of eating your power budget up there, you can kind of hide it. The scaling going off of how many they can use as their proficiency bonus, and then each application now removes the blinded, deaf, and paralyzed and poison condition, as well as 1 level of exhaustion. At 18th level, this is fine. At 18th level, that is totally fine.
Yeah, I think exhaustion removal is more than okay at 18th level.
Yeah, there's so many other ways you can get rid of exhaustion by that point. Usually, like...
Granted, it does cost 100 gold worth of fine gems, usually, but...
I mean, you're an 18th level adventurer, you piss on 100 gold pieces, Like, I think at 18th level, that's fine. These are all non-magical, anything, yeah. These aren't getting rid of. Also, notice what I really like here is that these are all non-magical effects, right? This is blinded, deaf, and paralyzed, and poison. Those are all physical issues, right? Physical detriments, we'll say, and then exhaustion. So it's not getting rid of petrified. It's not getting rid of stunned isn't in here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think the part of me is thinking that, like, curing poisons could actually be moved up to, like, earlier levels.
Oh, definitely.
So I think that's super on theme.
You could do that by, like, 7th level, and I'd say that was still okay. Fully feeling self. It's a part of a long rest.
Shoot. Oh, crap. I just got an ominous letter.
Oh. IRS stamp on it or something?
No. I forgot to... my bank... one of my bank accounts has... that I haven't touched in a while. They're sending a notice like, hey, why haven't you touched this in a million years?
Hey man, why don't you give us money anymore?
Yeah. That's basically it. I mean, granted, there's not much money in there in the first place, so like,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be much lost if they did end up taking it. But dear bank, please don't take my money.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's in a savings account and it's actually like accrued in interest, right?
I don't believe that's it, but you know.
I'm trying to be more optimistic these days, man. Like...
Yeah. All right. I think we spent enough time on this fighter, and we should probably move on to something else before we're here for 12 hours.
Yeah, the last thing I would say, just to not a dog, is like, dude, Tasha's opened up so much power budget for you to play with. And like, if their third level is just that healing salve thing, it's not even coming anywhere. Like, their third level is pretty minuscule compared to some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
What you have here, I think you've got the working concept, and I'll say it's strong compared to a lot of... Hey, there we go.
Yeah. I think the concept itself is super solid, though, for real.
Yeah.
All right, so Gilded Touch. So components, metal coins. So the effect varies depending on what kind of coins you have.
Correct.
Okay.
This is one that I forget who I was having a conversation with, but I was like, man, part of the reason why I don't think the merchant was quite as flashy, like, I mean, portable storefront is a pretty flashy feature, but I feel like a lot of the subclasses in merchant, and Rogue Watson pointed this out in his review, a lot of the subclasses in the merchant just don't feel like they're getting a lot of pizzazz, right? And part of what I'm going through and doing right now in getting it ready for the Fantasy Grounds release is, it's going to be finally a chance for me to go through and make it a little bit more exciting, especially because now that Tasha's is out, I can be like, all right, I can play with this a bit more. This
definitely.
is a way I'm trying to separate the blacksmith Forge Domain Cleric right here.
I see. Okay, so one sec. Where'd it go? Okay. So cold iron. All right. There is I understand what you mean, but there's also no official nomenclature for reducing
For cold iron?
No, for reducing the threshold for critical hits. Right, as of now, It's basically you score a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20 or 18, 19, and 20.
Right. So
I think
this is the wording that I've tried talking with some other guys about, where we're like, okay, this is a mechanic we want to toy with. The reduction of I think Heavy called it crit range reduction. And I like that, but it seems like this is the clear way that we're like, okay, this is going to work with Champion Fighter and Hexblade and whatever, right?
Yeah. I think that's the cleanest way to put it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, and this is going to get a flexibility clause to where I think the newest way I've written it is it's going to have a flexibility clause in that, if you're in a homebrew setting and there's a mysterious new metal in that world, the DM is going to be able to all right, cool, what's it going to do? So, yeah.
Gotcha. I'm fairly sure the silvered weapons are significantly more expensive than this cantrip, which is fine, but it's also something to be aware of.
Oh, sure.
Okay, you can silver a single weapon or 10 pieces of ammunition for 100 gold pieces. Jesus.
Yeah. But
compared
keep in mind,
to 10 silver, presumably.
this is also this is also eating up a cantrip known for you, a core part of your character features.
Yeah.
So, and it's not permanent. They're only on there for 1
yes.
minute.
Yeah, that's a
So,
good point.
werewolf, you can do this, but like, you know, it's gonna take your action. Like, if you don't prep
a short-term
before the
solution.
fight.
Hold on.
So that was my thought into how that. Yeah.
How many gold pieces are in? If it takes 10 silver pieces, how many? Is it 1,000 silver pieces for 100 gold?
It's a 10-to-1 ratio. 10 silver pieces for 1 gold piece, so 1,000 gold pieces for 100.
Okay.
Wait. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure it is 1,000 silver
yeah,
for 100 gold. So, hold on. So 9. I should know this offhand. Okay, so.
Uh-oh, what are we doing now?
Oh my god, so it is very, very, very cost effective to silver your weapon this way.
Oh, right.
Even though it only lasts a minute, you're gonna be, if you're really not gonna commit to silvering your weapon, that is like a super duper cheap option, which I think is fine because it's costing you an action.
It's costing you
combat,
an action.
So like by the time you need to silver a weapon, it might be too late.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, there's it's one of those things, right, where you can take this cantrip, and to me, the cool thing I like about this, right, it has the mechanical weight of it gains a silvered property. You do this on a weapon or 10 pieces of ammunition, that's pretty funny, right? Like, cool, you get a mechanical bonus. But I worded this in a way to where you could cover any object with this.
Yeah.
This is a shenanigan cantrip. Like, you can make something. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's like, it's in like the prestidigitation tier where it's like, you can do a lot with this.
Yeah. Well, and this is also one class that gets their portable storefront, so that you could already just have silvered items like stocked in your portable storefront, and then this is a screw around kind of cantrip.
Oh, you know what? I think you could technically. Oh, disregard. I was like, oh, you can replace. You can replace the material component for summon beast, but no, because it has a gold requirement.
Right.
I was thinking, oh, you just gild an acorn, but it's not that simple.
Well,
I suppose you could gild it over. Was it 20 times? No.
Is it so? Is this a version of it? Can you scroll down to the bottom?
Oh, sure.
If this is the version, because I added in. This is me experimenting with this, but I think this is going to work in the game. Because I did this in the past with my hammer. Yeah, there you go. My hammer space cantrip. This is a cantrip that you can also cast by expending a spell slot.
Yeah,
and
super
it gets
unconventional, but I think it's something that should be explored.
I think there's a lot of fun. I think you have so much territory you can explain with that, or expand on. But the one that I think is hilarious in this shows like this is the kind of screw around cantrip is what you can do with platinum.
Oh my god.
Like, I what is that going to do? I'm not entirely sure, but like,
I mean, you could touch an enemy's weapon, like say they're dual wielding daggers,
exactly,
and just make one drop to the ground because they can only use. Now they have to double hand their daggers like a freaking weirdo.
It's so damn funny. I saw the platinum and I was like, platinum's going to be more dense. And like, it's expensive, right? Who's gonna use 10 platinum pieces to like if you silver a bunch of arrows and they just like flop out of the bow? Like, I don't know. That just seemed like a really damn funny invitation to people to just be like, "Hey, cause chaos."
If
there you go.
If my players were using this and they were like at the top of a super tall wall and somebody like platinumed their arrows and they were firing at somebody like way down below, I would probably add like a D4 to their shots with that, just from like sheer creativity.
Yeah, right.
I was thinking
Tristan,
that like this was gonna cost something. However, the coins reappear in your hand unless they're destroyed. I honestly think that they should be destroyed and just have them cost less coins.
the only way I can reconcile with that is if you expend 1 coin.
I was thinking 5, but yeah.
The
The platinum one is super pricey.
So expensive. That was my. Whenever I'm trying to negotiate what this would do, I just don't really feel a reason why they need to be destroyed. The effect isn't permanent. You can do any of these as a downtime activity, right? I'm going to make a platinum weapon. I'm going to make an adamantine weapon. You might have to find a specific NPC, but hey, this is on the merchant class. This is your blacksmith NPC right here. So, I'm like I said, it's experimental. And it's weird trying to design around gold pieces in D&D. Because, like, power budget translating over into value isn't... That's always been my odd design space with the merchant.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And
then expending a spell slot to make it last an hour. That's super
neat.
And it doesn't require concentration, so, like, if you put gold on something... and then just cast like magic weapon, you've basically created a poor man's elemental weapon, which is super nice. I don't think there's a problem with that, to be clear. Like, I think that's super neat. I think one of the things you're missing is mithril. Have it do the exact opposite of platinum. Correct.
Yep. Woo! That makes that you are really flirting with great weapon master rogue at that point.
Okay. So here's the wording I would use. Hold on, what was it? The object's weight is halved, and if it has the heavy property, it is temporarily removed. If the weapon lacks the light the heavy property, it is considered light.
Yeah, I don't know that I would go so far as to do finesse. Because finesse just has all these damn other implications with it.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I was trying to think of like what's the worst case scenario, right? Like versatile rogue getting longsword. Yeah, so you can 1d10 on top of sneak attack. It's like the initial damage of an attack isn't what makes sneak attack scary. It's the damn sneak attack dice.
Yes, so... I always say, I use the phrase vehicle to deliver sneak attack. The dagger is just a means to an end. Which is why I think rogue is objectively the least game-breaking class to introduce firearms to, because... Because 2d8 is not that big of a deal in comparison to the 1d8 rapier or 1d6 short bow or whatever.
Right. Actually, you know what? I do kind of like the idea of it gains a finesse property because, I mean, you're going to be armed. You want to, like, this is the thing with designing supports, right? Like, you as the merchant want to be your rogue's best buddy. You want to be the party's best buddy. And if everybody can be like, holy crap, wait, you mean we don't have to go into town and pay for like all these crazy expensive items to do all, you can just make this stuff for us? Dude, they are going to take care of you so well. Like,
yeah. If you really wanted to stretch the mithril thing even further, if you're if your armor gives you disadvantage on stealth, you can either ignore that, or you can say have it give advantage to cancel it out. I don't know which is the lesser evil there.
What was that?
Oh, so a mithril armor, if removes any stealth penalties.
Oh yeah.
So you could either do that, or you could have it so that any armor you coat in this has advantage on stealth checks. However, still canceling it out.
Yeah.
So, if you like look at the armor in Tasha's,
Yeah.
they use the school of thought where it's the infiltrator armor has advantage on stealth checks. However, if your armor is heavy armor, then like the two cancel each other out. However, that still leaves the door open for you wearing mithril armor, which doesn't give you disadvantage on stealth checks, and
Right.
then letting you just have advantage on all stealth checks.
Yeah,
Or if you make or if your infiltrator armor is leather, then like congrats, you don't need to try it stealth anymore.
So, and partially thinking about this, so, okay, my pushback against kind of all this idea, right? We're not actually like I'm not intending to change the like the title of the spell is Gilded Touch. So you're quite literally surrounding a weapon in a thin like layer of this metal. And if we're just thinking about what that means for this weapon, it could never actually reduce the weight. So that's why I think mithril might be a bad you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I could see that. Although if you just change the narrative of like covering it instead of having it just renaming it to like Midas Touch, that could be fun.
Sure.
But if that's not what you're going
Midas,
for,
yeah, I think Midas is an actual like Greek god,
that's correct.
or not Greek god, Greek character.
Yeah, but like, I'm
Greek
not.
mythology. Yeah.
I'm fine with referencing Greek mythology because D&D already does it.
Well, that's fair.
I mean, hell, I just referenced the guy that killed Jesus, or not that killed Jesus, but the guy that stabbed Jesus in
Are you talking about Longinus?
Yes. Here, hold on.
That's the I think that's the name of the spear.
Oh, it's the Lance of Longinus is literally his lance.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah. Depending on what denomination you're talking about, some faiths consider him to be the first Christian. Also, Longinus does not. Longinus himself is apocryphal. Like in the Bible, somebody did stab Jesus to confirm he's dead, but he's not named because he's just a Roman soldier who gives a shit.
Right.
And then anime happened. And now the Lance of Longinus is forever tied up with Evangelion, and I think that's cool.
Oh, I mean, it's Longinus is a pretty common lance weapon in Final Fantasy too.
Yep, that's where that comes from as well.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Also, Gilgamesh being a
Spear of Destiny. That's right. That's what I was thinking of.
Spear of Destiny is just another name for the Lance of Longinus, but yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's also sometimes called the Holy Lance, which is Holy Lance is also a name for what Sacred Flame was in the D&D Next playtest.
That's right.
Which is why I call this Lance of Longinus, because it's basically replicating what Sacred Flame used to do, which was it was an attack roll, and it was called Holy Lance.
Ooh. Oh, that's fun. Okay. Hang on. Sacred Flame 1D. Okay. Huh. I really like that, actually. Just a different way to do Sacred Flame.
Yeah, I think it's pretty neat. And also, this part probably is going to get cut. Maybe. But somebody suggested that if the target's a celestial, you can choose to deal piercing instead of radiant. So basically, like, nothing... The spear that pierced Jesus, I'm going to count him as a celestial in this case. If it's able to pierce him, then it should be able to pierce any celestial. If we're using weird roundabout logic, I don't know.
Wait, now you got me thinking. Wait, DM's Guild guidelines? That's not violating anything, I don't think. I would really hope not, or else that's really silly. I don't know. Well, anyways, so you might check that out. Electrum can count as gold and silver. That's a point. It's possible, but like alloys do have different properties than their base metals sometimes. I thought about copper, but the thing with copper was like I had to assume that one of these metals was just going to be like, what do we conventionally make weapons out of in D&D, right? And if I was to say like you cover it in iron or you cover it in steel, then like I'm kind of implying that property is applied to all weapons of that kind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I think if you have copper, I think it could be fun to have it interact with lightning damage in some way.
Possible. I mean, I can't just really add 1d4 because like that's elemental weapon.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it's more restricted, but still, I mean, that's adding more damage on top of the attack.
What if it could redirect lightning? I don't know. That's a bit much.
I think actually what would be funny is if it caused you to have disadvantage on saving throws against attacks and spells that deal lightning damage.
Oh,
because it's terrible for you, but you want to go around and screw over some town guard. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I was thinking like if you could like set up a lightning rod, and then and then have it so that if the lightning passes through the square of the object that you created, or that you gilded with copper, then it could like act as a ground. So like it could absorb a lightning bolt if you position it right. Maybe, I don't know. That might be a bit much.
I think what could just be really funny is like you cover this item in copper, and then whatever is holding or wearing it has disadvantage on the saving throws. Or, I mean, hell, if it even took an additional 1d4, or like, I think honestly 1d10. Like, just say whenever it takes lightning damage, it takes an additional 1d10 lightning damage. That's so funny. I love that idea.
I think that's cool.
So yeah, don't make it like a necessarily always a buff, right? I have a way easier time justifying making things a debuff than a buff because like they're so funny. I love making debuffs. What was it? The wielder has the wielder of the object takes an additional 1d10 lightning damage. How do I put it? Whenever the wielder of the object takes lightning damage, it takes an additional 1d10 lightning damage.
Yeah, I think that's
there. We go.
Okay, what if what about brass though? My first instinct is to think about like how like trumpets and euphoniums are like electroplated with brass. So like have it interact with thunder damage in some way. But the more I think about it, I think it should just make whatever weapon or whatever object is gilded by it, just have the sound carry farther when it's nearby. So like have it echo off of stuff.
Possibly. Well, wait, bronze or brass?
Brass.
I mean, yeah, brass with like instruments. I'm thinking like with bells. That's usually bronze with bells. I want to say. But like, so another interesting thing, and this is just like a musician, me doing college theory crap, music history. We actually don't. Yeah, we actually don't make brass instruments out of brass anymore.
Yeah, you're right. They're
pure brass is poisonous.
Oh right, yeah.
It's not. Yeah,
I don't remember what the substitute is though.
Oh well, we just make them out of like regular different metals. Sometimes you'll see sterling silver. whatever, like they're different alloys. Because if it's 100% pure brass, there's like trumpet players that have been known to like get hospitalized because of like whatever that toxo. I guess it's toxoplasmosis. I'm not sure.
Toxoplasmosis is started from a parasite, so doubtful.
Oh, okay.
That's
no,
the
no,
one.
no,
that's
no.
the one you get from like sticking your face in kitty litter.
Cat feces or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but yeah, you can actually just by playing on a brass mouthpiece get poisoned by it.
Jesus.
So it's actually fairly rare that you're gonna find instrument, maybe mouthpieces, never.
Yeah.
They'll never make pure brass mouthpieces.
I don't remember what my saxophone's made out of. I believe it's gold plated. It's ancient. It's Depression era. So.
Do you know the model and maker?
Oh shoot! I'm trying to remember. The current maker was absorbed by another one. Crap! It's been a million years since I touched it too.
Do you remember what the maker started with? Now I'm just curious what you might have.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it was. Oh, it was a Con Selmer.
Actually, wait, it was a Selmer?
No, it was a Con before.
Right, but Con got absorbed by Selmer, right?
That's correct. So it was Con before it got absorbed.
But I mean, my dude, that might be worth some money.
It is, yes, and I'm not getting rid of it for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's currently at my sister's
funny.
place because we were, moving and all that.
Right.
I planned to get back into it during the pandemic and then didn't.
Well, I mean, man, the pandemic's been bad on all musicians. Like, just the fact that like I haven't been able to get out and perform has meant that like, my guitar practice routines have been slipping real bad. So
I have played the guitar a grand total of 4 times this pandemic. It's rough.
It's sad because I think I can count my practice. Well, composition wise, I've probably written a lot more than I've actually played.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, just writing to keep my music theory mind going.
I've lost all of that basically. It's been like 3 years since I've taken music theory. Maybe. I used to be a music major and then I switched to arts technology.
Oh, where at?
ISU.
ISU is that
Illinois
State. Or
Illinois State?
Okay.
And then I slowly got sick of doing live sound too, and I started to do journalism at the radio station. I've been on a trip these past few years.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. It took me 8 years and what was it, 5 different colleges for me to get my degree. So you're doing all right, I promise.
Yeah, I'm just.
I'm
all over the place. I have no attention span.
But this spell might actually get a disclaimer, kind of like command, where command is like you and your DM might determine another metal. I mostly just say that like the property most likely should not be innately magical, unless the table decides like, yeah, cool, we're gonna roll with that. But I'm just gonna write like some metals and their effects follow. You might find another metal other than ones described here. If you do so, the GM determines how that metal affects the object, and just invite people to think a little bit more about world building on that.
Yeah, definitely.
But
let's see. All right, I think we can. I think I said my piece on this cantrip. I think we can move on a little bit. All right, let's see.
And Amanda actually just walked through the door. She's been at work, so I'm gonna talk to her about getting dinner. But yeah, thanks for having me on.
No problem.
It was fun getting the chat for a little while, man.
All right, I think I'm gonna see if Phil's around still and see if he wants to chat.
Nice,
All right.
nice. All right, we'll talk to you later. You.
All right, see ya. All right, so. Oh, Crump giving disadvantage on stealth could be fun. Alright. Plutonism. Plutonium? I'm a little lost. Anyways, alright, I'm just gonna paste the next. Actually, wait, hold on a sec. Alright, let's do Dragonborn Dogs. Alright, please hold. Alright, so. Alright, so, let's see. This is a sorcerer subclass. And. Wow, this is. Alright, so. Hungry Spirit. An insatiable force lives inside you, breathing magic into you. Typo here. As well as the desire to take and steal what is not yours. This being protects you. Wait, is this a... Oh, it is a sorcerer. Okay, it feels very warlocky. So... First off, no, absorb energy. When you are dealt acid, cold, fire, or lightning, or thunder, you can use your reaction to have resistance to the damage type till the start of your next turn. Alright, so first off, that is basically an infinite absorb elements, except significantly better because absorb elements... Actually, let me double check that before I say outright that absorb elements is worse. Okay. It's not that much stronger, but it is still on demand absorb elements. That's a bit much. Let's see. And then level 6, I'm assuming this is supposed to be cravings for energy grows. You can now feed an primal unknown inside of you. When you are targeted by a spell, you can use your reaction to absorb its energy. When you do so, you gain a number of sorcery points equal to the level of the spell. Oh, okay. This is cool. Equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So this only works on spells. However, around level 20, is suppose you're taking like an average of level 4th spells, and let's see. 6 times 4. So that's like 24 sorcery points on an average at like higher levels, and I feel like that's a bit much. I I think I would be fine with this if you regained a sorcery point when you did this, and it's stacked with absorb energy, instead of this being an either or situation. Alright, and consume light lets you absorb the light near you, creating a cocoon of nothingness around you. As an action, you can expend 1 to 4 sorcery points to create a thin veil that consumes all light around you for an hour. Okay, so that part's redundant. The veil extends a number of feet from you equal to 5 times the number of sorcery points. Okay, so I'm just a little confused on the narrative here. So, like, I'm just thinking that I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, right. So the narrative here kind of feels a little bit confused. First, you're just absorbing spells, and now you're specifically absorbing light. And I think this is a good feature on the wrong class. If this were a warlock of darkness, then I think that this would make more sense. I get what you're doing, but I'm not entirely sure that it's the right fit for this subclass specifically. This, in general, kind of feels like it should be a warlock subclass, though. And then Devour Soul. You consume a creature's soul before the planar guardians have a chance to divert it to where it belongs. Wow, that's metal as hell. As an action, you can devour the soul of a dead creature within 5 feet of you, provided its soul is on this plane of existence and has been dead for no longer than 10 minutes. When you do so, you gain temporary hit points equal to your sorcerer level. In addition, when you concentrate, as if you're concentrating on a spell for up to 1 hour. Oh, you can concentrate for up to 1 hour, in which time you relive the experiences and memories through their eyes and ears up to 1 hour prior to their death. Okay, so let's see. So the thing that you gain temporary hit points equal to your sorcerer level, but that assumes that you can consume a creature's soul, and like those things aren't exactly laying around. Yeah, I feel like this is, again, this also feels like it kind of belongs elsewhere. I'm just kind of struggling to think about how to square the circle of making this make sense narratively, and also how this makes sense in game as something that you could realistically use, because this is 20 temporary hit points, and at level 18 that's not a lot, but also it requires there to be a perfectly good soul laying around for you to eat. That's a bit yeah. I can't think of anything like specific that I want to change about it, aside from it just like, I kind of wish it were a different capstone, if that makes any sense. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely a warlock thing. Alright, I think I'm ready to move on to... Let me move on to another one before I go crazy. Alright, so let me move on to... I've got Warlocks on the brain, so let's do the Enigma. Alright, so your patron holds an immense knowledge that it shares with you through cryptic advice, pushing you to learn as much as you can, even beyond what might be considered reasonable for mortals to know. They appear to be playful, choosing to share their power in the form of riddles and games, but it's unclear whether you're a crucial pawn on some cosmic board or a temporary toy. Okay, so Enigma is intended as a sphinx, but I'm trying to find new creatures. I think the sphinx is a good one. I think, yeah. If you wanted to have it be like a keeper of knowledge, you could have it be the. You could call it the all-knowing, maybe. But, anyways, so the Enigma. Also, this is very like similar to like the Seeker patron from Unearthed Arcana, but that one was a disaster and made no goddamn sense. Alright, so expanded spell list is Command, Detect Magic, Augury, Detect Thoughts, Clairvoyance, Non-Detection, Compulsion, Divination, Commune, and Geas. Okay. Really good spell list here. I'm fairly sure none of these are on the Warlock spell list, but assuming that none of them are, then that means that you did a really good job picking these out, because I think these are all super on brand. And first level is ritual casting. Okay, so I think this is... I don't think it's an inherently bad decision, but I do not think I would do it on a Warlock. Because at level 3, you have the option of taking the tome. Yeah, so my first thought is, if you want this to interact with the Book of Shadows in the same way that Hexblade interacts with Pact of the Blade, I think there is a way to do that. But I don't think giving them ritual casting is the best idea, because now you've basically steered them away from the bookish side of Warlock. Because now they already know ritual spells, so why would they take Pact of the Tome? If you wanted to have something narratively similar, you could probably give them a feature that works like a Book of Shadows that lets them prepare a spell. For example, you could call it a Tome of Mysteries, or you could call it a Book of Mysteries. I don't know. Tome of Mysteries, and you can write down that and it has a copy of all of your spells, and then once per long rest, you can swap out one spell for another, and then at third level, you can make that tome into your Book of Shadows if you take Pact of the Tome. I think that makes more sense. Anyways, cryptic signs. When you choose this patron at first level, your mind starts to fill with cryptic fragments of the future. When you finish a long rest, roll 66s and record the numbers rolled. Okay, so divination wizards, sort of. You can replace any attack. Oh. By you or a creature that you can see. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, so you build your own dice roll with these. So you roll 3d6. Wait. Oh, okay. Okay, so 3d6 is basically acting as a substitute d20. that biases towards the average. Oh, okay. But you can mix and match them. Okay, this is super fascinating. I like this one a lot. I think this is great. And then secret rituals, you learn 2 spells from any class, including this one. The spell you must choose be of a level you can cast. Okay, this is a lot, and it kind of breaks the game in half if you're not careful with this. The Bard is specifically designed to have I don't want to say a shitty spell list, but it's a spell list that is full of glaring omissions to force you to make tough decisions at level 10 or level 6 if you're a Lord Bard. Warlock's spell list is designed around the fact that you have spell slots that return on a short rest. Actually, going back to the modifying classes, we can actually look at the Warlock here. The Warlock spell list was carefully cultivated to avoid including spells that might become too annoying if cast too often at the table. If you want to grant a Warlock access to a new spell, but are concerned that its frequent casting could be disruptive to the game, consider creating an Eldritch Invocation that enables the use of the same magic on a more limited basis, by requiring a rest between uses. So, opening up the entire game's spells allows this Warlock to take Animate Dead and cast it willy-nilly. So I think it's probably, I don't know what the exact solution is. I want to say that wizard spells at 2nd level and below would probably be fine. Oh. It must have the ritual tag. Okay. Crap. I really should read ahead. Okay, that... Okay, designer clearly thought of that. That's my bad. Okay, so they gain additional rituals. Which is... Going back to my first point, I don't think that should be the main focus of this class. But giving them something wizardly is like being able to swap out a spell on a long rest could get something similar. And then Labyrinthic Mind, you become proficient in intelligence saving throw, no all. Additionally, you have advantage on all saving throws and ability checks made against divination, enchantment, and illusion spells. Wow, that's a lot. I think I would get rid of the divination caveat. Advantage against enchantment and illusion spells. That's really cool. I like that a lot, though, for real. I was kind of expecting just a resistance to psychic damage. Riddle me this. You regain all... Oh, shit. Okay, that's strong. Okay, this is super interesting. This is a super interesting patron. Okay, I really like this one. Okay. I think I'm gonna move on. Let's see. Oh, shoot. just pasting this here. Alright, so I think this is the last one before I either decide to cut it short or... yeah. Oh, shoot, I forgot. The one more thing on which one? The Enigma. I think a really overlooked idea is letting you add your charisma modifier to any intelligence checks you make. If you want a reference for like how to word that, you can see what's called the Fey Wanderer Ranger, which allows you to add their wisdom modifier to their charisma checks. I think that would really help this like be the nerd warlock, or just add an alternate rule that just lets you swap out intelligence for charisma. But I think that's I think the former idea is a little bit more interesting. But anyways, all right, so last submission before I start moving on to my own stuff. All right, so Rallying Shout at 3rd level, you learn how to inspire allies. When you use your second wind class feature, you can... Okay, so I'm fairly certain this is the exact same thing as Purple Dragon Knight, which is fine, because I think that is a bad subclass. Alright, so expended tactics should probably be expanded. You gain a number of methods other than warfare to deal with conflicts. You gain proficiency in charisma persuasion and charisma intimidation checks. If you already have proficiency in one of these checks, you may choose another from the fighter proficiency list. Okay. Interesting. At 7th level, you gain an additional use of second wind. Okay, so this is a lot. Especially if you can heal other people. I think this is too much. I think gaining an additional use of second wind is fine, even though you effectively double the amount of times you can use it, because these come back on a short rest, and I feel like people are kind of underestimating how much healing what do you call it? A second wind die is. Like, let's see. Alright, so a D10 is 5.5. Oh shoot, I have that wrong. Alright, so a D10 is 5.5 plus fighter level at level 7, that's 7. And let's see. What's it add? Okay, so here, that doesn't seem too bad until you realize. Let's multiply that by 2. And let's say 3 short rests. Alright, that's a fairly meaty sum. And now let's see. Number of allies equal to your charisma modifier. That should be plus 3 at this point. And Boom. That's a lot. And now, let's add in that additional use. All right, so this is the difference between a normal fighter's second wind healing and the amount that this fighter is going to be healing at level 7. Now let's go to level 15. And let's see. Yeah, that's a massive difference. And then, hold on. Let me think. And then if I double the amount, it's a lot of extra healing. I really hope that makes sense. Yeah. I'll have a more detailed math breakdown, but like, yeah, it's a lot. And the gap just gets wider and wider. Let's see. At 20th level, the gap gets a bit silly. And this is also assuming, let's say your charisma modifier went up to, yeah, I'll have a more detailed math breakdown. I'll show that later. But let's see, where did it go? At level 10, when you use your action surge, you can choose a number of allies equal to your charisma modifier. They may make one ranged. Okay, so this is basically. Oh, this is Purple Dragonite again, and I think that's a fine class feature, to be honest. At level 15, you can extend the benefit of your Indomitable feature to an ally. All right, so. This falls into the exact same pitfall as the real Purple Dragonite. This has a lot of caveats to it that you have to, actually account for. So one, this requires that you have Indomitable left, which is fine. This also requires you're re-rolling a Wisdom, Charisma, or Intelligence saving throw, which is, that's a fair assumption to make. And you aren't incapacitated. That's also a fair assumption. And now you have to assume that you and one other ally also failed. And now you're giving both of you a chance to re-roll that. I think this should be decoupled from I think this could be decoupled from Indomitable entirely, and I think that would make it so much easier to use. Because if you failed and your allies didn't, you can't use this, and then you're eating into your feature, even though you need to use Indomitable. And suppose that you succeeded and they failed, you're still wasting that. I think the easiest way would be to make this an original feature that just keys off your charisma modifier, that lets anybody within range re-roll an Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma saving throw. So yeah. Alright, and 2 arms. You can use a bonus action to grant all allies you can see a +2 to their attack rolls, damage rolls, armor class, and saving throws for 1 minute. Okay, so the +2, I don't want to beat the dead horse of like 5e intentionally not having too many floating modifiers around. But we're not Wizards of the Coast, and we don't need to play it that safe. However, now all of a sudden you're granting all allies you can see, when before it was allies equal to charisma modifier, so there's a little bit of a disconnect there. I think tying this to your charisma modifier, a number of allies you can see, would make the most sense. And shoot, +2 to their attack rolls, damage rolls, armor class, and saving throws for 1 minute. And you can... You don't need to have this here that you can only use this once. Oh. Okay. If you're concerned about it stacking, yeah. That's fair. Although personally I think this is strong enough to be once per long rest. Or I guess once per short rest, if we tone it down slightly. And also I think that shoot, I think cutting armor class and just make it a D6 to their attack rolls, damage rolls, and saving throws for 1 minute, and I think that would be fine to make a short rest. I'm a little unsure on that. Okay, I think a D4 would actually be fine to have this refresh on a short rest. I'm not in... Shoot, I wish Taryn were here, because I think he has a better sense for this than me. Yeah, I think that's... I'm not entirely sure on this. I'll come back to you after the stream. I can't think right now about that. Alright, I think I hit all the homebrew that people sent to me. In which case, I think I'm just going to take 30 minutes on mine, and then I'll call it a stream, but I will be right back. I'm going to go grab my charger before my laptop dies. Alright. Alright, I am back. Hopefully not everybody already left. Alright, so. Alright, so. Alright, so my invocation list. I think I'm going to make a key here. And, let's see, on a scale of 5 is good, 4 is good, 3 is okay, 2 is not good, 1 is bad. Alright, so. And let's see, orange for 4. Yeah, I'll just put stars by them. Anyways, so I think Hellfire Burst. I think this one is pretty solid. I don't need to touch this one too much. Blades of Gilgamesh. This one, I'll give it a 4 in terms of how confident I'm feeling about it. Swords of Damocles, that's a 2. This one's not. This one's a little bit rough still. Swords of Damocles. So when you cast Sword Burst, you can place a curse on one target, and this curse also acts similar to like Hex and Bestow Curse. So if you have an invocation that requires a curse, it would interact with that. So while the curse is active, it hangs over their head, and you can force them to make a dexterity saving throw or take 3d6 force damage. The damage values obviously are subject to change. I'm thinking I'm going to scale that back to 2d6. You can only have one of these curses active at a time. I think I'm going to set a timer so that it requires a bonus action for you to drop and have the damage increase by 1d6 per round you don't drop it. Then again, that has its own issues. Yeah, I'll come back to that one. Cleansing Flame is 5 stars. I like this one a lot. I don't want to touch it too much. This one is actually very close to parity with Eldritch Blast early on, and it's also just a super hyper accurate thing that your opponent cannot easily escape, because unless they are a rogue or a monk, they're going to take half damage. And radiant damage also has its own perks, like being able to foil undead resilience and stuff like that. Lance of Longinus, I think that is a 5 star. This one I'm actually very, very happy with. Basically the idea here being that dexterity saving throw is not always ideal, so if you don't want to do that, you can just make an attack roll. And being within 5 feet doesn't impose disadvantage. And if the target is celestial, you can choose to deal piercing damage instead of radiant damage. So like anything that's immune to, that resists radiant damage, if it's a celestial, then it won't be able to resist this. And also, additional 1d8 if the target's undead, celestial, or fiend. This was originally a feature on Cleansing Flame. I moved it over onto this one because this one was a bit bloated. I think I'll put this at a 4 star instead. Psionic Secrets, 1 star. I don't like it anymore. So, this is, you have Psionic Energy die, equals your proficiency bonus. Some of your powers, expend the die, yada 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 yada. And it's just not very good. So, So, I'm thinking I'm just going to cut out a lot of this shit, to be honest. Let's see. Alright, so I'm going to cut. You harbor a wellspring of psionic energy within yourself. Actually, I'm just going to cut the psionic energy die. And you regain it when you finish a short or long rest. Alright, so when a target succeeds on an intelligence saving throw against your Mind Sliver cantrip, as a reaction, you can expend a psionic energy die to reduce their roll by a number equal to the die rolled. Alright, so I think the easiest thing to do would be against your Mind Sliver cantrip, as a reaction, you can roll a d4 and reduce the result. Let me look up Bane's wording. Fails a saving throw and makes an attack roll or saving throw before the spell ends. The target must roll a d4 and subtract the number rolled. Alright, you can roll a d4. You roll a d4 and subtract the number rolled from the attack roll or saving throw. Okay. So, what does this do for you specifically? One, this makes your Mind Sliver super accurate. And that also allows you to... This allows you to subtract a die from their next saving throw. So this is definitely not a damage one, which is fine. Let me look up Mind Sliver and 5e tools again. Okay, so subtract a d4 from their next saving throw that it makes before the end of your next turn. So yeah. So this makes it actually super good at maintaining a Mind Sliver up. And if you want to, that's what you want to keep using your action on, I think that's fine. Let's see. Alright, let's suppose that your enemy is pretty decent at saving throws. So, 3 for proficiency, versus your 13. So they have a 70% chance of passing that. So let's say you use your reaction to subtract 1d4. Okay, so you have knocked out their chances quite a bit. Now let's suppose that you are just catching them in a death loop. You have a 55% chance of them failing that save. Granted, you're only doing 1d6 damage per. Let's see. I think. Okay, do I want to add charisma modifier to the damage? I'm going to say probably not. If anything, I'll probably add half proficiency bonus. Let's see. Alright, so... Oh, let me get rid of save half. Alright, so there's a 45% chance of doing no damage. Let's do 1d6 plus 2. Average of 3 damage. That's fine. Average of 1 damage. Alright, let's suppose that they're not good at intelligence saves. Let's say average of 2 versus an Eldritch Blast. AC 15. Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption to make. 1d10 plus 4. 2d10. Oh, plus 3. This is where I'm assuming low levels. Oh, what the heck? Oh. Of course. Alright, so Eldritch Blast versus Mind Sliver. Significantly less. That's... Honestly, the damage on this thing is... It's very, very pitiful, but the effect is super potent. So let's see. Minus 2d4. Okay, so damage-wise, I think this is fine. Let's see if I... No. Absolutely not. Okay. Alright, so it's... Yeah, it goes without saying that this is definitely weaker than Eldritch Blast, however, has a side effect that is significantly more powerful. Let's see. And it costs your reaction, which is not nothing. Okay. if I had to rate this version, it'd be a 3. Yeah. Let's see. Toll the Dead, Call from Beyond. That's a 3. When you cast Toll the Dead, you can add your Charisma modifier. Additionally, when you cast Toll the Dead and the target fails the saving throw by 5 or more, they gain a level of exhaustion. I don't think that's going to break anything. I think it's an interesting alternative. Another idea I had was if they're below half health, they have disadvantage on the save. But I think that's an either-or situation. Probably should get rid of the exhaustion or make it a separate invocation. I'll make it a separate invocation for now. Alright, so when you cast Toll the Dead, add your Charisma modifier to the damage it deals. Additionally, when you cast Toll the Dead, and the target has deals Call from even further beyond. Okay. Hezros Stench. Confidence in this one is a 2. Not feeling super good about this one. I'll come back to this one. Stunning Shock. I think that's a 3-star. Critting on a 19 or 20 plus easy on-demand advantage means that you have a decent-ish chance of stunning the opponent, which I think is a decent reward for an invocation. However, that does require the Air Genie Warlock to be close to their target, which can be problematic. I'll come back to that one later. Winds of Change. You learn the Gust cantrip. Is the Gust cantrip already on there? Let's see. Alright, so... Where'd it go? So Gust is on there. Its range is 60 feet, and you can target a large or smaller creature. Kinda situational. Anyways, alright, so Brazen Flame lets you learn to produce flame cantrip and add your charisma modifier to it. Standard stuff. However, this lets you increase the damage by 2d8. Not feeling great on this. Shifting Stone is a 4-star. I think it's good. Rising Tide is boring. I need to fix this one. Alright, and Chill of the Depths is decent. Trickster's Wit, it's decent. I'm probably gonna need to cut the bloat here, though. Life Siphon is undone. It's not finished. It doesn't even have text yet. Yinagu's Fury is a favorite of mine. And Shadow Steel Skin. I think this is pretty solid. Absolute Accuracy. I think I'm feeling kind of shaky on. And Swarm of... It's not literally going to be called Swarm of Bastards. I just put that as a placeholder. And the text is placeholder as well. I don't know what it'll do there. All I know is the Infestation Catcher is going to factor in. Alright, I think I'm going to cut off the stream right here. And thank you so much if you were here the whole time. If you showed up for 5 seconds, that's cool too. Yeah. Thanks for listening, and I hope this was informative. I'm gonna go to sleep. Night.